Hello ladies and gentlemen, and we're in the most beautiful place called Perast, which is in Montenegro.
In this piece we will see the beautiful town of Perast, with its incredibly tall steeple, and, needless to say, we will climb it. We will see the most picturesque island with a church on it, just outside the town, as well as the legend that is associated with it. We will see the beautiful back streets of the historical place where tourists rarely go, and see the views rarely seen. We will also share about the old tradition of fortune-telling on traditional Damacha Kafa coffee, and see the finest sunsets overlooking the Kotor Bay. Initially, we have seen this town on the boat tour, which we took on the second day of our arrival to Montenegro. It is then that we saw how beautiful Perast looks and decided to come back and explore it. If you are staying in Kotor, you can easily get to Perast by bus, which doesn't cost much at all. When we sat on the bus, this is what we saw: a vintage mechanical till to buy tickets and process transactions. Obviously modern buses in Montenegro are not like that, and it was quite nice to see something as quirky as this. The trip itself was a treat. We had a boat tour of the bay and mountains, and the bus trip was just as beautiful as we went along the mountain road overlooking the bay. As always, hats off to the drivers who maneuver buses on roads like that. When we arrived to Perast, the bus stop was at the back of the town. In a sense, you could say that, which was great because it made us go downhill to the waterfront and explore the town as we went along. There is something incredibly peaceful and calm about churches like this. You could really embrace the atmosphere without crowds of people. Like in many other places akin to this, time stands still. Moving along the narrow pedestrian streets, the stone villas are everywhere. And here we are on the waterfront. Magnificent and welcoming, it stretches along, accommodating many restaurants and small places where you can sit and enjoy the view and the sunshine. I have to say that there are no beaches here, but you can still swim. There are areas to get into the water, to get into the sea, but the rock bottom of the sea is full of sharp stones, so be mindful of that. However, swimming is great here. The water goes deep very quickly and you can really enjoy the cool sensation of the swim, because I must say the water is pretty chilly, but because it's so hot, it creates such a contrast that you simply enjoy the good swim. First memories of Perast date back to 1336. At that time it was a small fishing village. Now it grew into a magnificent town we see today. This is the church of San Nicolas. It was built in 1616, but it is believed that an older church was there prior to the construction. This is an impressive 55-meter tall bell tower. It combines the elements of Romanesque, Renaissance and Baroque styles. This tower was built in 1691 and the clock that's on it was brought from Venice in 1730. The ascent is very narrow and you have to be ready to engage and experience the ancient architecture firsthand. We absolutely loved it, I must say. And those are the magnificent views from the top of the tower. next destination was a very special island of Our Lady of the Rocks. A tiny island has a very old church together with living quarters with a small garden to grow food in. But the island wasn't always there. You can get there from Kotor as part of the boat tour of the bay, and you can also get there from Perast. There are many different boats which ferry between the town and the special island. It wasn't always like that though. Many years ago it was a small island used by the local fishermen to catch fish, until one day there is a legend that surrounds this mysterious place. Legend has it that in 15th century 2 brothers, both fishermen, went to the small island to fish, a regular place for them to go fishing, but not on the day of 22nd of July, 1452. On that day, they found an icon of St. Mary. They were quite surprised and brought the icon back home with them to discover that it disappeared and reappeared on the island again. The brothers brought it back home again, the icon disappeared again and somehow was back on the island. Brothers understood that it is a sign that the icon wishes to stay on the island, and they vowed to build a church on the barren and yet holy rocks. As the brothers were building up the island for better foundation, the locals joined them. It became a mission of Perast, a project that united people to create a very special place, which is already a home to a miraculous icon. And even now, once a year, a procession of boats comes to the island, and people throw rocks around the holy place, around the island, therefore strengthening the base, strengthening this magnificent island so it could stand for many more years to come. From the towering heights of the steeple tower and the nourishing of our souls at the island of Our Lady of the Rocks, we went for a dinner to nourish our bodies in one of the restaurants on the waterfront. Needless to say, the views were heavenly. We sat there embracing the beauty, and at that moment I have realized that this is what local people see every day. This is there every day. It must be quite incredible to grow up in a place like this. The food was as incredible as the views themselves. Tasty and fresh, succulent and rich.
This is a local coffee. It's called Damacha Kafa, which, if you translate it, I believe it means homemade coffee. It's made in one of these jars, which you put on the hob and you hover above it, and it's cooked like this. And this cake is called the Perast cake. It's a local cake. I've never tried anything like this before, but it looks gorgeous, and we were recommended that it's served with ice cream, so we're gonna find out what it tastes like. The flavor is very hard to explain. It's very succulent, but it feels like you're eating many pieces of dried, caramelized orange.
We went for a coffee after a meal, and little did we know that there was an old tradition of fortune telling on the coffee. After you finish your cup of coffee, you turn your cup upside down on the saucer and lift it up gently. After the rich coffee sediment have settled on the saucer, you look into the cup and see what images does the coffee conjure up. What can you see? What comes to mind? What's in there? So whatever images that come to mind is what kind of future you will have. It could be all sorts of things that the coffee sediment resembles of, and that is why it's important to ponder on it and to see what could really be applicable to your life. A curious tradition certainly starts up a new and very refreshing conversation for sure. The glorious sunsets are second to none in this place. It is here that we spent the rest of the day, and although we've stayed in Kotor, and there is a separate video about it on my channel too, we went to Perast many times. If you like this video, you can always see more videos and more blogs on my website, which is www.mikebogatrevculturetravel.com. And if you wish, you can always support me on Ko-fi as well. All the links are below this video.
I must say that each and every trip, each and every journey is really unique and really has its own flavor, so to speak. And the moment we came to Montenegro, it opened itself up in the most amazing way to us. I most sincerely hope that you enjoyed this piece, and I really recommend you to visit this beautiful country. It really has it all. Even if you wish to have just chilling time on golden beaches, or you wish to have spiritual time and visit the magnificent churches and chapels, or if you wish to go up in the mountains and enjoy skiing, all of it is here in Montenegro. And it's one more country I really fell in love with. In fact, one more country we fell in love with. And until next time, bye bye.